Welcome to Astronomy Daily, your go-to podcast for everything happening above our heads and beyond. I'm Anna, and I'm thrilled to be your host as we explore the universe together. Today, we've got a fascinating lineup of stories from the forefront of space exploration and astronomy. We'll be diving into some recent incidents, including a significant test anomaly for a key component of NASA's Space Launch System, and the surprising legal challenges facing SpaceX over a Starship explosion. But it's not all about the dramatic events. We also have some truly captivating science to share, like the rare daytime fireball that may have impacted a home in Georgia, and groundbreaking new research that might finally explain the mysterious differences between the near and far sides of our own moon. And for something a little different, we'll journey back in time to uncover the incredible true story of a con man who managed to fool the world as an astronaut. So settle in and let's get started on another exciting episode of Astronomy Daily. Let's delve into some significant news from the world of space exploration, specifically regarding NASA's Space Launch System, or SLS. On June 26th, during a test firing in Utah, a new version of the solid rocket booster being developed for the SLS experienced an anomaly. This test was for Northrop Grumman's Booster Obsolescence and Life Extension, or BOL, version of the 5-segment solid rocket booster. The booster, fixed horizontally, was undergoing a 2-minute firing, simulating a real launch. A little over 100 seconds into the test, observers noted exhaust appearing from the side of the nozzle, followed by debris scattering from that same area. Despite this, the motor continued to burn for the rest of the test. Initially, NASA and Northrop Grumman officials didn't publicly address the incident during their webcast. However, a few hours later, Jim Kalberer, Vice President of Propulsion Systems at Northrop Grumman, released a statement confirming the anomaly. He noted that while the motor seemed to perform well through a harsh burn environment, the issue occurred near the end of the burn. Kalberer added that the company was pushing the boundaries of large, solid rocket motor design, and that this new, largest ever segmented solid rocket booster test provides valuable data for future developments. The BOL design is intended to be used for SLS missions, starting with Artemis 9, projected for the 2030s. Its key improvements include replacing the shuttle-era steel casings with new carbon fiber composite designs, using a new propellant formulation, and incorporating other advancements that boost its performance by over 10%. This would allow an additional 5 metric tons of payload for SLS missions heading to the moon. However, there's a degree of uncertainty about whether the BOL design will actually fly. NASA's fiscal year 2026 budget proposal aims to cancel the SLS after the Artemis 3 mission. While a provision in the Senate's budget reconciliation bill could add funding for 2 more SLS missions, through Artemis 5, it doesn't clarify the vehicle's future beyond that. Interestingly, this isn't the first time a Northrop Grumman solid rocket booster has faced a nozzle issue in less than a year. Back in October 2024, a nozzle detached from one of the much smaller GEM 3 6XL solid rocket boosters on the second launch of United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket. While that issue did degrade the booster's performance somewhat, it didn't prevent Vulcan from successfully completing its mission. ULA later confirmed in March that a manufacturing defect in one of the internal parts of the nozzle caused it to come off, and fixes to correct this problem were successfully confirmed in a test firing in February. These incidents highlight the complex and challenging nature of developing such powerful propulsion systems. Now let's turn our gaze from man-made rockets to a natural phenomenon that recently put on quite a show. A large meteor created a spectacular, rare daytime fireball over the southeastern United States on a Friday at 12:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This wasn't just any meteor. It was so bright that it was even seen by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's GOES-19 Earth observation satellite, using an instrument designed to map flashes of lightning from orbit. Daylight fireballs are truly uncommon. According to Robert Lunsford of the American Meteor Association, it takes a significantly large object, much bigger than your average pea-sized meteor, to be bright enough to be visible during the day. He notes that we probably only see about 1 per month worldwide, meaning only about 1 in every 3,000 meteor reports occurs during daylight hours. This particular meteor was first spotted approximately 48 miles above Oxford, Georgia, hurtling through the atmosphere at around 30,000 miles per hour. Experts suggest it might have been associated with the daytime beta torrid shower, which peaks in late June as Earth passes through debris from the ancient comet 2P/Encke. What makes this event even more intriguing is the strong possibility that fragments of the meteor survived its fiery descent and impacted the ground. In the hours following the fireball, photos began circulating online, purportedly showing a hole punched through the roof of a home in Henry County, Georgia. The size of this meteor meant it had a better chance of producing fragments. Scientists look for reports of sounds like thunder or sonic booms, which indicate that parts of the fireball made it down to the lower atmosphere, and potentially all the way to the ground. This strongly suggests the photograph of the hole in the roof is indeed connected to this celestial visitor. And if verified, it wouldn't be the first time a daytime beta torrid left its mark. Lunsford mentioned a particularly large meteor, believed to be linked to this annual shower, that detonated in a powerful airburst just 6 miles over Russian Siberia in June 1908. That explosion, known as the Tunguska event, ignited massive forest fires and flattened an estimated 80 million trees. It's a powerful reminder of the impact these space rocks can have, even when they don't directly hit the surface. From natural impacts, we now shift our focus to human-made space endeavors, specifically the latest legal challenges faced by SpaceX. The Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, has recently threatened to file a lawsuit against SpaceX, citing alleged contamination resulting from a Starship explosion that occurred earlier this month. On June 18th, SpaceX was conducting a test of the upper stage of its Starship vehicle at its Starbase facility near Boca Chica Beach in Texas. This test culminated in a dramatic fireball. While SpaceX stated on social media that there were no hazards to the surrounding communities, President Sheinbaum is contesting that claim. During a press conference, she indicated that a general review is underway of the international laws that are being violated, specifically due to this perceived contamination. The Mexican government is looking to file the necessary lawsuits. It's worth noting the geographical context here. SpaceX's Starbase facility is located at the very southeastern tip of Texas, right along the Rio Grande River, which acts as the border between the United States and Mexico. Just across this border from Boca Chica and nearby Brownsville, Texas, lies the Mexican city of Heroica, Matamoros. This isn't the first time SpaceX has faced environmental lawsuits or other legal challenges. In 2023, a coalition of environmental groups sued the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, alleging that the agency hadn't properly analyzed the potential damage Starship could inflict on the surrounding areas, which are home to protected bird species. More recently, in 2024, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality reported that SpaceX had violated the Clean Water Act by releasing pollutants into nearby bodies of water, though SpaceX refuted these claims as factually inaccurate. Past Starship launches, and particularly explosions, have indeed left significant amounts of debris scattered across Boca Chica Beach and its environs. The debut flight of Starship on April 20th, 2023, saw the rocket's 33 first-stage Raptor engines propel chunks of cement and other debris for miles. Local residents described that launch as terrifying and likened it to an earthquake, with debris even crushing a nearby car. That flight also ended dramatically when SpaceX initiated its onboard flight termination system, causing the vehicle to explode about 3 minutes after liftoff, with fragments found along the shores in the days that followed. To date, Starship's upper stage has exploded or crashed into the sea on 8 of its 9 test flights, underscoring the experimental nature of these ambitious endeavors. These incidents highlight the ongoing environmental considerations as space exploration continues to push boundaries. From the complexities of earthly legal battles in space, we now pivot to the ancient mysteries of our moon, specifically the enduring puzzle of why its near side looks so different from its far side. For a long time, this was one of the moon's most intriguing secrets. Until 1959, when the USSR's Luna 3 spacecraft first circled the moon and sent back grainy black and white images, humans had never actually seen the lunar far side. What those images revealed was a stark contrast. The far side was heavily cratered with far fewer of the dark volcanic plains, known as Maria, that so distinctly mark the near side. This immediate visual difference prompted many questions about the moon's formation and evolution. Was Earth's gravitational pull responsible, or perhaps a difference in crustal thickness? Scientists realized the moon wasn't a uniform body, and the search for answers has continued ever since. Now, new research published in Nature Communications, led by Ji Junjing from Ehime University in Japan, offers a compelling explanation that points to trace amounts of certain minerals. The study focuses on chlorine and fluorine and their presence in lunar minerals and melts. It highlights that most near-side lunar crust materials show an unusual enrichment in chlorine, a finding that doesn't quite fit with traditional models of primary crust formation. This anomaly, the researchers suggest, is likely due to a process called metasomatism. Metasomatism is a geological process where a rock's chemical composition is altered when new chemical elements are introduced, often by water or magma. In the lunar context, the research indicates that gaseous chlorine compounds found their way into near-side lunar rocks through this process, while far-side samples don't show the same enrichment. Another key piece of this lunar puzzle is what's known as the moon's creep terrain. This is a large region exclusively found on the moon's near side, characterized by high concentrations of potassium, rare earth elements, and phosphorus, hence the acronym CREEP. It's also known for its significant thorium concentrations. CREEP is crucial to understanding the moon's early evolution after its global magma ocean phase. While CREEP was likely widespread initially, it's now confined to this one region, possibly due to the massive impact that created the South Pole Aitken Basin on the opposite side of the moon. That impact might have generated a thermal anomaly that drove the creep towards the near side. The new research suggests a strong connection between widespread chlorine vapor on the lunar near side and this lunar dichotomy. They hypothesize that this chlorine metasomatism is likely related to degassing caused by impacts or eruptions from the creep terrain. Chlorine is highly volatile and incompatible, meaning it doesn't easily fit into the crystal structure of minerals as magma cools. So chlorine-rich vapors released during volcanic eruptions or impact-induced evaporation likely played a key role in transforming the moon's near side, the side we see most clearly. Conversely, the far side, untouched by these vapor-related volcanic activities, may be more pristine, preserving information from the moon's very early magma ocean phase. While this research provides a strong hypothesis for the lunar dichotomy, the authors emphasize that more evidence is needed. This is where future missions come in. China has already landed 2 missions on the lunar far side, including the Chang'e 6 mission, which successfully gathered samples. The authors believe that measurements of halogens in these far-side Chang'e 6 samples could provide the crucial evidence needed to strengthen their explanation. It's a truly exciting prospect for lunar science. From deep space, we now turn our attention back to Earth, specifically to a captivating, unbelievable, but true story of a con man who, for a time, managed to fool the world into believing he was an astronaut. Picture this: a cold January evening in 1989. Members of the Experimental Aircraft Association of Boston are eagerly awaiting a special guest. The president introduces him as a master of the skies and space. Onto the stage strides U.S. Marine Captain Robert J. Hunt, 27 years old, handsome, with a confident air, and dressed in a powder blue NASA flight suit, complete with shining space patches. Hunt captivated the amateur pilots with fantastic tales of his life as a Marine fighter pilot, bombing Gaddafi's Libya from his FA-18 jet. But his most astonishing claims involved soaring above Earth aboard the space shuttle Atlantis on top-secret missions for the Department of Defense. He even presented 2 blackened tiles, which he claimed were scorched during his re-entry. Despite some members' suspicions, like Joy Alexander, who found his thick New England accent and rude attitude unsettling for a NASA astronaut, most were spellbound. Hunt shook hands, scribbled autographs, and left the aviation enthusiasts believing they had met a legend. But Robert J. Hunt had never been to space. He didn't even have a pilot's license, let alone a driver's license. He was an imposter, and his incredible scam would soon make national headlines, leading to his arrest in less than a week. Hunt had been leading law enforcement on a cat-and-mouse chase for years, posing as a Marine, a baseball star, a senator, and other prominent figures, often escaping prosecution. It was only when he became an astronaut that he triggered a security panic, embarrassed politicians, and captivated the nation. Hunt's obsession with space began at age 7, watching the Apollo 11 moon landing. He felt a deep connection to astronauts like Neil Armstrong and Alan Shepard. As a teenager, he would sneak into Chelsea Naval Hospital, slip on discarded uniforms, and salute himself in the mirror, dreaming of exploring distant planets. His father, Leo Hunt, a plumber who also pretended to be a military colonel, unknowingly influenced him, even writing a book about his alleged life in the military titled Colonel Chameleon. Robert Hunt claims his father taught him the art of deception, like when he sold sparrows, painted yellow as canaries. Robert's first steps into grander deceptions came early. He claimed to join the Marine Corps on a delayed entry program, was supposedly honorably discharged due to an administrative error, and then simply bluffed his way back into barracks, knowing the commands and structure. He even snuck onto Pease Air Force Base dressed as a second lieutenant and was caught poking around Air Force 2, the vice president's plane. This incident triggered an FBI investigation and ended his first marriage. His cons escalated. He married again, claiming to be a college graduate with a baseball contract. He even invented a spray-on diaper cream called Love My Baby, falsely claiming a multi-million-dollar buyout was imminent. Using his wife's credit card, he rented limos and posed as a TV producer to cast a Super Bowl commercial, only to be busted by police who described him as a smooth talker. After these setbacks, Hunt fled back to the military, using fake credentials to acquire flight uniforms and promoting himself from Marine pilot to Captain Hunt, America's youngest Marine astronaut, complete with $20 Navy astronaut wings. He claimed to have bluffed his way into NASA astronaut training, undergoing physical evaluations at Johnson Space Center and studying in Rocket City, Huntsville, Alabama. He even said he spent 9 weeks with Morton Thiokol, the company that built solid rocket boosters. While none of these claims are verified, Hunt's narrative was detailed enough to convince many, including his fourth wife, Anne Sweeney, an optical engineer. He whisked her away on private jets and exotic vacations, paying with her corporate credit card. The pinnacle of his astronaut hoax came in December 1988, when he traveled to Ireland to visit his brother-in-law. On the Aer Lingus flight, he charmed the crew and was invited into the cockpit. Upon landing in Dublin, he was shocked to be greeted by smiling Irish government officials and a small band playing the national anthem. He didn't even go through customs. Hunt played along, giving speeches, accepting awards, and sipping tea with Dublin's Lord Mayor, Ben Briscoe, who, despite his suspicions, politely let the spectacle continue. Hunt left Ireland with souvenirs and honorary Irish citizenship, claiming it all just got out of control. Back in the U.S., his scheme began to unravel. American Express rejected a $5,000 charge for the private jet trip, alerting his wife's employer, Polaroid. Massachusetts State Trooper Andrew Palumbo began investigating Hunt after a woman complained he had convinced her son to enlist, then demanded $4,000 to use his Pentagon connections for a discharge. Palumbo, a diligent and tough investigator, quickly discovered Hunt's military records showed only 2 months in the Marine Reserve, ending with a psychological evaluation. On January 28, 1989, Palumbo knocked on Hunt's door. A search of his home revealed military paraphernalia, flight jumpsuits, a NASA helmet, police badges, and photos of Hunt wearing Korean War medals. His wife, Anne Sweeney, surrendered 2 scorched space shuttle tiles, which Palumbo identified as ordinary floor tiles. Hunt was arrested for larceny. Palumbo was relentless, discovering a fake doctor's ID and confirming that Hunt's military uniforms were acquired fraudulently. NASA and FBI determined that impersonating an astronaut wasn't illegal unless other crimes were involved, but Palumbo logged Hunt's astronaut gear as evidence of his fraud. Anne Sweeney was devastated to learn her husband was a con man. "It was almost like watching someone die," she told the Herald. "Here was this person I thought I knew, and bit by bit, in the course of an hour, he just dissolved, just disappeared." She realized she had fallen victim to the ostrich effect, a psychological phenomenon where people bury their heads in the sand, operating under a truth bias, assuming others are honest. Hunt pleaded guilty to larceny and received a 2-year suspended sentence. After his release in May 1989, he announced his candidacy for mayor of Revere, Massachusetts, but Trooper Palumbo continued to pursue him. Hunt failed to pay restitution and skipped town, becoming a fugitive. Television crews interviewed his former wives, who compared notes on set, His cons continued, leading him to pose as the head of SEAL Team 6 at a U.S. military base in San Francisco. There, he even berated an elderly man who questioned his authority, only to later realize it was Apollo astronaut Eugene Cernan. Finally, in July 1994, he was charged with false impersonation, pleaded guilty, and served a year in prison. After his release, Hunt's cons persisted, with Palumbo doggedly pursuing him until the trooper's death in 1998. With stricter security after 9/11 and the Stolen Valor Act of 2005 making it illegal to falsely claim military decorations, Hunt's schemes became impossible. He finally hung up his fake uniforms and tried to rebuild his life, expressing regret for the hurt he caused his ex-wives. While he maintained some incredible claims about flying real fighter jets, investigations by NASA and military records confirmed that Robert Hunt had no legitimate military or astronaut service. Today, Robert J. Hunt lives alone in New Hampshire, working in construction. At 63, he reflects on his past. He once said, "When I'm wearing a blue flight suit and everybody else is wearing a gray or green one, you stand out. Like this guy is the super guru of pilots, so they all want to be your friend." For a brief, extraordinary moment, like the sparrows he once painted yellow, Hunt's deceptions allowed him to truly believe he could touch the stars. And with that incredible story, we're calling time on today's episode of Astronomy Daily. A final reminder before I head off. If you'd like to catch up on all the latest in space news, please visit our website at astronomydaily.io. While there, you can listen to all our back episodes and sign up for our free daily newsletter. Until next time, this is Anna signing off and reminding you to keep looking up. You just never know what you might see or discover. Bye.